Andrea Tantaros, a former host on Fox News, has formally filed a lawsuit against Roger Ailes, alleging that she was also a victim of sexual harassment. And because of the fact that she did not give into his demands to basically have some sort of relationship with him, she was demoted within the network. So let me
eventually fired.
And eventually fired. Okay. So this all happened during the time that they were supposed to renew her contract. During contract negotiations, everything kind of fell apart, and that was when she came forward after Gretchen Carlson had alleged sexual harassment against Roger Ailes. And she basically said, yes, I was a victim too, and she has now detailed it in this lawsuit. I'm going to give you the sexual harassment details right now. So she says that Fox News masquerades as a defender of traditional family values, but behind the scenes, it operates like a sex-fueled Playboy Mansion-like cult steeped in intimidation, indecency, and misogyny. The lawsuit also says that Ailes did not act alone. He may have been the primary culprit, but his actions were condoned by his most senior lieutenants who engaged in a concerted effort to silence Tantaros by threats, humiliation, and retaliation. She said in the suit that she was repeatedly told by Fox executives that she could not wear pants on the air because Roger wants to see your legs. She also alleged that Bill O'Reilly on 2 different occasions made advances toward her and that she turned him down. And apparently Roger Ailes had asked Ms. Tantaros to turn around so I can get a good look at you, adding that Ms. Tantaros refused. Soon after, she was moved from the 5 to a lower rated show, Outnumbered, that aired at midday.
So by the way, he then later asked for a hug and all these things. And so in the beginning, there was some leaks from inside Fox News when they were trying to defend Ailes, saying like, oh, all this over hugs and stuff like that. No, but then you saw later in 20 other allegations against Roger Ailes, including a very, very specific one that Anna talked about on another show of a woman who accepted that what he does is he warms them up. So he slowly brings them in, and it starts with, hey, can you turn around for me? And it's a little demeaning, but you're not sure what its exact intent is. Tantaros was aware. It was like, no, I'm not going to do that, right? And then he says, oh, I'd like to see you in a bikini. Then he gives you a tight hug. And in another instance, if you accept those things, then we found out in one of the other allegations, and then he, it's so disgusting I have trouble saying it. He slipped one of the women at his tongue, and she's like, oh my God, what are you doing? But then she had already given him the tight hug and showed her ass, and she's already, and then after the kiss, he's like, what? We're in the middle of it, right? And then he takes it to the next step and the next step, and next thing you know, he's gotten exactly what he wanted. This was his pattern. Cosby had a pattern, he had a pattern. So Tantaros and Gretchen Carlson was smart to stop it before it got to the other parts, where they're like, no, I'm not going to show you my ass.
Yeah, a lot of women, unfortunately, got to a point where they felt like there was no return. So, you know, there was one former employee that we did a report about who talked about how, you know, he would have her do degrading things on camera and use that as leverage against her. And so she felt uncomfortable reporting him or talking to the authorities because she was worried that that very embarrassing video would get out there. But it seems like Gretchen Carlson and Andrea Tantaros stopped it before it could get to that point. But as you guys can see from what they're alleging, at least, their career suffered as a result of that. Now, look, I think that all allegations should be taken seriously. I don't think that allegations automatically mean that someone is guilty. If you want to ask me what my speculation is that he is guilty, right? But I want a proper investigation done, and I want to make sure that we prove these allegations against him. With that said, though, I think that it's really interesting that in a lot of cases, conservatives, and specifically those on Fox News, never take things seriously until it happens to them. And Andrea Tantaros is a perfect example of that. On several occasions, she has shown that she doesn't take accusations of sexual assault seriously. So I'm going to give you the first example of that. So about 3 years ago, one of the biggest news stories was that rape and sexual assault was happening within the military. It was happening on a regular basis, and you know, some in a higher position within the military were brushing these instances under the rug. Now, Andrea Tantaros couldn't understand why people were reporting on that as opposed to the so-called IRS scandal, which wasn't even really a scandal. It was something that was drummed up by conservatives, and it wasn't even really a big story. If you don't believe me, here's Andrea Tantaros talking about it on her radio show. Take a look.
Sex crimes in the military, they are a real issue. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to just poo-poo it and say that that's not. What baffles me, though, is the way they prioritize these issues, the timing and the tone of them. Okay? If these were liberal groups that were targeted by George W. Bush, they would not be covering sex assault in the military. Okay? The president would not be speaking in front of a group of Naval Academy graduates who didn't assault anybody. That's why they're sitting there in their beautiful Navy whites, ready to risk their life for our freedoms, freedoms that the Obama administration has no problem stomping all over. And they have to be lectured on graduation day about sex crimes. Again, why did they have to do that? Why is MSNBC devoting time to this issue when, as David Axelrod points out, there's so many other issues to deal with?
Okay, so a couple of things about Tantaros. One, well, she's definitely a right-winger. It's not like she's some sort of liberal plant who's in there to get Ailes. No, she worked there for a long time, said a lot of obnoxious things, totally conservative. Secondly, now, like you said, Anna, I just want to make a quick point about allegations. I believe that Roger Ailes did it because of the sheer number of women who have come forward with very specific, detailed, and similar stories. Now, that doesn't mean all 20 women are telling the truth, right? It could be that 18 of them are telling the truth and 2 of them are not. So she's suing for $49 million. So if one of them is discredited, that doesn't mean the other 19 were also lying.
Right.
So I don't know about Tantaros specifically, and that's why they'll have the lawsuit and see. My guess is they'll settle because she's, like the others, is telling a similar story, and they're not going to want that story in the press. It's already way too much in the press. But maybe the reason they haven't settled yet is because they think, no, well, we didn't do this one, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, right? But now Tantaros coming out and saying, I can't believe I was sexually harassed. This is the most important thing. This is the top priority.
Yeah.
And I would like $49 million for it. When others were being sexually harassed and assaulted, why make it such a big priority?
No, I mean, look, I have more examples for you guys if that wasn't good enough, right? But think about what she was saying for a second. We can't show you the entire thing because it was a super long argument. But she's essentially saying that rape in the military should not be the priority in the news at that moment, okay? In the same breath, she's talking about the importance of honoring members of our military. If you care about honoring members of our military, you'd want to protect them from rape, okay? I held back a little bit over there.
I know.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, the so-called IRS scandal, which she thought was way more important than rape in the military, was concocted by Republicans, later proven that liberal groups were targeted not as much as conservative groups, more than conservative groups. And the reason that the Republicans and Fox News concocted that was because they wanted to make sure the IRS was neutered so it couldn't audit the really rich who were evading their taxes,
right,
who are also donors to the Republican Party and part of the people who run Fox News. So she thought prioritizing really rich donors was more important than members of our military who'd been raped.
Yeah.
So, but when she gets sexually harassed, stop the presses. Because that's the thing with conservatives. They have no empathy. So they can't understand anybody else's pain until it happens to them.
So let me give you some more, okay? And this is for Media Matters. They write that in November 10th of 2011, New York Daily News column, in a New York Daily News column, Fox News host Andrea Tantaros addressed the sexual harassment accusations against the then GOP presidential hopeful Herman Cain. Here's what she had to say about it, okay? I'm not saying that Cain isn't guilty of sexual misconduct, but this scandal should have every woman asking, at what point do women need to take some responsibility? The real question, according to her, is why have dinner and drinks with a married man in the first place? Why not meet him in his office if your purpose is strictly professional? So, again, I mean, people come forward saying that they were sexually harassed, sexually assaulted, in the case of the military story, raped, and it's really not a priority, right? Let's question the women. Let's be super skeptical about them. Let's look out for the guys, because that's what her incentive is. Like, that's what did really well with her audience at that time. And once she's a victim, she wants to get justice, which is understandable. I want to take her allegations seriously, right? That's what a decent human being does, regardless of what their audience likes or what their audience wants.
So I think those statements cut both ways. To be fair to Tantaros, in a situation like that, she immediately cut off contact with Ailes and said, no, I'm not going to twirl around for you or show you my legs or my ass. I'm not going to show you myself in a bikini. So credit to her. She was assertive and did the right thing there. And then sought redress from her executives, who it turned out were covering for Ailes, and decided to fire her instead. On the other hand, she seems to have almost no empathy for other sexual assault and harassment victims. She says, why don't they take personal responsibility?
Yeah.
Okay, now, but Andrea, when you do your lawsuit, now Fox News attorneys get to turn around and go, well, it's your personal responsibility too. I mean, some say it's Roger Ailes' fault. Some say, oh, it's your fault. Let's call it 50-50. Right? I mean, oh, I know who said that. You kind of said that. Not completely, but you talked about the personal responsibility of the victims. So, hey, it should be your personal responsibility too. Conservatives, not just in this case, in all cases, if it doesn't happen to you, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. You should try to think about, oh my God, what if that happened to me?
Yeah,
to me, that seems like the most logical thing in the world. But for them, we really got to spell it out, because they're like other human beings. Who are they? I don't know them. I don't care about them.
Yep.
I only care about precious little old me.
Yeah, it's called empathy. That's what we're asking people who comment on these stories to have. Put yourself in the shoes of the person that you're talking about, the person that you're saying disparaging things about. Finally, I got to give you the last example. Here's Andrea Tantaros talking about the way boys are treated in these college rape stories. Take a look.
And I'm going to speak slowly here so all the feminist blogs can get this one, because I'm sure they'll clip it. There is a war happening on boys on these college campuses. Now, we see this fraternity. They can't show that they did anything wrong. We don't know if anything was done wrong. But, Katie, the DOJ has been involved, and Obama's administration is scrutinizing these college campuses to come down hard on cases of rape. And even at Harvard University, some of the most liberal professors, including Alan Dershowitz, have penned a letter to the Boston Globe saying there is no due process in these sexual misconduct cases for these kids. Okay? This is a real problem. They say that there's no opportunity to discover the facts. There's no opportunity to confront witnesses and present a defense. This also hurts lower income students because they can't retain legal representation. They cannot fight back. And so you have Lena Dunham, Rolling Stone. It is a theme in this country to go after boys in this rape culture.
So it's one thing to say, hey, you know what, you got to give people due process. That's a legitimate point to make. It's another thing to say there's a war on boys. Now remember, some of those allegations were very real and involved physical violence against women. But no, the war was on boys.
Right.
So, Andrea, they could turn around in court and say, what do you mean? You're doing a war on the poor, poor men of Fox News Channel, whether it was Bill O'Reilly or Roger Ailes or Bill Shine, or whether it was people who did the sexual harassment or the people who protected them. Oh, it's a war on the men of Fox News Channel. So, as usual, later, when it happens to her, she's like, oh my God, this is outrageous. Why didn't anybody tell me about this? Well, they did. They told you it might be possible, and that in fact it happened to other people, but then you didn't really give a damn. But when it's about you, all of a sudden, it's the most important thing in the world. We're asking you to treat it equally, and that other human beings might also exist, and their pain might also be real. You know, the Young Turks has a whole 2-hour show every single day, and you can get it ad-free if you're a member. tytnetwork.com/join. Go.